Hear me clearly. This is not coincidence, not imagination, not a passing thought. This is a divine interruption, a prophetic alarm, a spiritual alert from heaven itself. Something is shifting in the unseen realm. Doors you didn't even know existed are unlocking. People you've never met are being positioned for your arrival. Resources you never asked for are already in motion. God told me to warn you, prepare yourself, because your life is about to be radically redefined. You have been faithful in private, and now God is preparing to reward you publicly. Every tear, every disappointment, every setback was training ground for the moment that is now approaching. You thought you were being forgotten, overlooked, or delayed, but heaven has been quietly writing your next chapter. What felt like silence was actually strategy. What felt like waiting was preparation. What felt like stillness was God building momentum beneath the surface. A divine shift is unfolding, one that does not wait for your permission or approval, but responds only to divine timing. It is rearranging circumstances, redirecting conversations, and repositioning people in ways that seem subtle at first, but soon become undeniable. What once felt routine will begin to feel too small, too familiar, too restricting, because your spirit already senses what your eyes have not yet seen. This shift is not coming. It's already here, quietly surrounding you, gently pushing you toward the unfamiliar, the uncomfortable, and the extraordinary. Sudden change does not always announce itself with loud signs or obvious confirmations. Sometimes it arrives disguised as discomfort, restlessness, dissatisfaction with what used to satisfy you. It interrupts patterns, disrupts expectations, and dismantles what no longer serves your future. You may not fully understand why certain doors are closing or why certain relationships feel distant, but this is the prelude to transformation. Heaven never promotes without first separating, pruning, and refining. There are things you prayed for that require a different environment, a different version of you, a different level of faith. And because God is committed to your destiny, not your comfort, this shift will stretch you beyond what is familiar. It will require you to release old mindsets, outdated expectations, and worn out narratives. This is not punishment. This is alignment, calibration, and preparation for what has already been assigned to your name. Every sudden change begins in the unseen before it manifests in the natural. Invisible conversations, unknown opportunities, and silent arrangements are already unfolding on your behalf. You may feel like nothing is happening, but behind the veil, everything is happening. Favor is negotiating, angels are coordinating, and destiny is orchestrating details you never imagined. What looks still is actually in motion beneath the surface. You are stepping into a season where what took years will begin to happen in moments, where long-standing prayers will be answered with unexpected speed. The pace of your breakthrough will not match the pace of your struggle. What once crawled will suddenly run. What once resisted will suddenly yield. What once seemed impossible will suddenly become effortless. This shift carries acceleration, not stagnation. Do not be surprised when the familiar no longer fits you, when peace no longer lives in old places, when you feel drawn towards something bigger without fully understanding why. Your spirit recognizes what your mind has not yet processed. You are being ushered into a chapter where your capacity must expand, your vision must stretch, and your expectations must rise to meet what God has already released. There are moments in destiny where life cannot remain the same because you have outgrown the old season. The conversations around you will begin to change. The opportunities that appear will feel different, and the people you attract will reflect where you are going, not where you have been. This shift is not random. It is strategic, intentional, and perfectly timed. Even the challenges, delays, and interruptions you experienced were part of the shift, pushing you out of stagnation and into momentum. What once frustrated you was actually guiding you. What once confused you was preparing you. What once resisted you was strengthening you. Nothing was wasted, and everything was necessary to sustain the blessing that is approaching. This transformation may feel overwhelming at times because divine change rarely comes wrapped in clarity. It demands trust, surrender, and obedience. It asks you to move before you see, believe before you receive, and prepare before anything looks different. But deep within, you already know this is not an ordinary transition. This is divine intervention. So breathe, stay present, remain open, and allow the shift to unfold without forcing, rushing, or doubting, because what is forming around you carries more purpose, more favor, and more destiny than anything you have ever walked through before. There is someone you have never met, someone whose name has never crossed your mind, yet they have been divinely positioned as a key to your next chapter. They are not coming by accident or coincidence, but by assignment. Their wealth, resources, influence, and connections are not just for themselves. They have been entrusted with them because a portion of it belongs to your destiny. They are being led, guided, and stirred toward you without even knowing why. This individual has access to rooms you have prayed to enter, platforms you've dreamed about, and opportunities you thought were out of reach. They move in circles where decisions are made, where doors open without effort, where change happens with one conversation. And while you may feel unseen or overlooked right now, heaven has already highlighted you in their spirit. Your name, your gift, your purpose are being brought into their awareness. Do not be surprised if they appear suddenly without warning or explanation. Destiny rarely knocks politely. It arrives unexpectedly, interrupting normal routines. They may show up through a recommendation, a conversation, a referral, an invitation, or an encounter that seems random. But there is nothing random about divine alignment. What feels surprising to you has been orchestrated in the unseen for a long time. This person will not question your worth, your calling, or your potential. They will see you clearly without the filters of your past, without the limitations others placed on you. They will recognize what you carry, even if you've tried to downplay it. They will honor your gift, value your presence, and speak your name in spaces you cannot yet access on your own. They have the ability to do in a moment what years of effort could not accomplish. You will not have to chase, manipulate, compete, or convince them. They are not coming out of charity, pity, or obligation. They are coming because God whispered your assignment into their spirit. Your paths will cross at the exact moment when timing, readiness, and purpose meet. They will be drawn to you because what you carry aligns with what they need, and what they possess aligns with what you are stepping into next. This connection will not feel ordinary or transactional. It will carry ease, clarity, and divine peace. You will sense that this is bigger than business, networking, or opportunity. This is destiny linking lives for mutual purpose. They have resources, but you have the vision. They have the platform, but you have the message. They have the influence, but you have the assignment. Together, something powerful will be birthed. Their presence in your life will silence the lie that you must struggle alone, fight every battle by yourself, or build everything from scratch. God never intended for you to fulfill your calling unsupported. There are people assigned to lift you, sponsor you, advocate for you, and help you access what belongs to you. This wealthy and unusual individual is one of them, sent as a divine confirmation that you are worthy of investment. As they step into your story, the pace of your progress will shift. What felt delayed will accelerate. What seemed impossible will suddenly make sense. What appeared closed will open effortlessly. They will speak for you in places where your voice has not yet been heard, and their endorsement will carry the weight needed to shift outcomes in your favor. Their belief in you will unlock the confidence and boldness you didn't realize you needed. This person may not look, sound, or behave like those you are used to. They may come from a different background, culture, industry, or lifestyle. That difference is intentional God often sends help in forms we don't expect, so we cannot limit his methods. Their uniqueness is evidence that this connection is supernatural, not self-made, not familiar, not predictable. It is meant to stretch your capacity to receive. Somewhere right now, they are preparing, transitioning, and being positioned for the moment your paths align. They feel drawn toward a new assignment, a new responsibility, a new partnership, not realizing that you are the reason for that stirring taking place within them. You are not just being moved to a new place, you are being reshaped into a new version of yourself, one that can sustain what is coming. This preparation is happening layer by layer, sometimes quietly and invisibly, yet powerfully and intentionally. Your spirit is being strengthened to carry more faith, more clarity, and more authority. You are learning to trust beyond what you see, to walk with confidence even in uncertainty, and to discern divine timing without fear or hesitation. This inner readiness is the first sign that relocation is near. Your mind is being renewed, stretched, elevated, and recalibrated to think bigger than your surroundings. Ideas that once felt impossible now feel attainable, and dreams that seemed unrealistic suddenly feel necessary. You're no longer satisfied with what merely gets you by. You sense there is more, and you are being mentally conditioned to embrace it. Limiting beliefs are being exposed, old narratives are being dismantled, and thoughts that once held you hostage are losing power because your mindset is shifting into expansion. Emotionally, you are being prepared to detach from what no longer aligns with your purpose. You are learning to let go without resentment, to release without fear, and to trust that endings are not losses but transitions. People, places, routines, and roles that once defined you may no longer fit, not because they were bad, but because they served their season. Your heart is being stretched to make room for new connections, new environments, and new levels of belonging. Physically, you may feel the urge to organize, pack, clean, simplify, or restructure your surroundings, even without knowing why. This is the body responding to a spiritual shift. Restlessness is not aimlessness. It is preparation. Your environment is being adjusted to reflect the movement that is coming. You may feel drawn to explore new locations, research new opportunities, or imagine life beyond where you are. And this curiosity is evidence of divine relocation unfolding. Financially, you may notice changes, new income streams, unexpected provision, increased discipline, or a stronger desire for stewardship. This is not random. Provision always precedes transition. You are being trained to handle increase, not just desire it. Expansion requires structure, responsibility, and strategy, and God is preparing you now so that when doors open, you can walk through them without hesitation or overwhelm. Spiritually, your sensitivity to God's voice is deepening. Prayer feels different. Worship feels heavier. Intuition feels clearer. You're noticing signs, confirmations, repeated messages, and divine nudges that refuse to be ignored. Your discernment is sharpening because the next season requires spiritual awareness, not emotional reaction. You are being taught to move by revelation, not reasoning. Relationships are being refined, redefined, and sometimes removed. Certain people may suddenly drift away while others appear unexpectedly. This is not rejection. It is selection. Expansion requires alignment. God is surrounding you with those who fuel your growth, speak life into your calling, and push you toward destiny. The right connections will carry you into places you cannot enter alone. Your priorities are shifting. What once consumed your attention now feels small, and what you once overlooked now feels essential. Vision is becoming clearer, values are becoming stronger, and distractions are losing their influence. You are being prepared to steward a bigger assignment, and that requires focus. Your life is being reordered to match the magnitude of the season ahead. You may feel like you're in transition without movement, like something is changing, but nothing is happening yet. That tension is sacred. It is the space between preparation and manifestation, between prophecy and fulfillment. God often completes the inward relocation before initiating the outward one, ensuring that when the physical move happens, you are emotionally, mentally, and spiritually ready to sustain it. Everything around you is quietly signaling that you cannot stay where you are, that growth is calling, that destiny is stretching, that expansion is unavoidable, and you are being prepared step by step for the place your future requires. The battles you faced were not meant to break you. They were designed to build you. Every struggle carried a lesson. Every disappointment sharpened your discernment. Every unanswered strengthened your endurance. What felt like resistance was actually spiritual conditioning, stretching your capacity for the magnitude of what is coming. Destiny requires durability, and the challenges you survived created that strength within you. There were seasons where nothing made sense, where progress felt invisible, and where hope seemed like a distant memory. Yet even in silence, God was working behind the scenes, developing perseverance, patience, and resilience. Waiting rooms are not wasted places. They are classrooms of faith. You were learning to trust the process, to believe beyond circumstances, and to remain steady when life was shaking. Those moments of delay were not denial. They were intentional pauses that protected you from stepping into opportunities prematurely. Sometimes God slows you down so the blessing can catch up, so the right people can align, so the wrong doors can close. You were being positioned, not punished, and the timing you questioned was actually preparation unfolding with precision. The emotional battles you fought taught you how to guard your peace, protect your spirit, and value your identity. You learned that validation from others is temporary, but confidence in who you are is unshakable. You discovered strength you didn't know you had, courage you never thought you needed, and wisdom that now guides your decisions with clarity and authority. The opposition you faced revealed the greatness within you. Attacks do not come against the empty. They come against the chosen, the anointed, the destined. The warfare was confirmation that your calling carries weight, that your future threatens the enemy, and that your life is connected to something bigger than you imagined. The pressure was proof of purpose. Every closed door redirected you toward the right path. Every setback revealed what could no longer accompany you into the next chapter. Every ending freed you from attachments that were limiting your growth. What you thought you lost was making room for what you were meant to gain. The pruning hurt, but it prepared you to flourish. You learned to hear God in ways you may not have if life had remained easy. Struggle taught you to pray differently, listen deeper, surrender fully, and trust completely. You discovered that faith is not built on clarity, but on conviction. The wilderness seasons developed intimacy with God that comfort never could have produced. What once frustrated you now reveals its purpose. The delays built patience. The obstacles strengthened strategy. The uncertainty cultivated adaptability. You were being shaped into someone capable of stewarding influence, opportunity, and abundance without being overwhelmed or distracted by them. Preparation always precedes promotion. Even the people who walked away played a role in your development. They taught you boundaries, self-worth, independence, and discernment. Their exit may have felt painful, but it removed voices that would have hindered your elevation. Not everyone is equipped to accompany you into destiny, and those departures protected your promise. Looking back, you can now recognize that every challenge was a stepping stone, every burden was training, every battle was spiritual conditioning for the season you are entering, and every moment you survived has positioned you for the breakthrough that is already unfolding around you. Now is the moment when hesitation must bow to destiny, when doubt must surrender to faith, and when procrastination must release its grip. You have carried vision long enough. Now you must become the vessel through which it manifests. The spiritual atmosphere surrounding you is shifting in your favor, but divine movement requires human participation. You cannot stay still and expect transformation. Every great breakthrough is initiated by a step, a decision, an act of courage that signals to heaven, I am ready. A walking boldly does not mean you have everything figured out. It means you trust God even when details remain unclear. Boldness is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to let fear govern your choices. It is standing in unfamiliar territory with a steady heartbeat and a willing spirit, declaring that destiny deserves pursuit. Confidence grows not through certainty, but through motion. You were not created to tiptoe through life. You were designed to advance with intention. Expecting favor is not arrogance. It is alignment with divine promise. It is waking up each day believing that goodness is pursuing you, opportunities are seeking you, and miracles are locating you. Expectation attracts what doubt repels. When you believe favor is yours, you speak differently, pray differently, show up differently. Your posture becomes prophetic, signaling to every closed door that it must reconsider its position. Favor responds to faith. Fear may still whisper, but it no longer holds authority over your path. You silence fear by refusing to give it language, attention, or agreement. Every time you choose faith-filled thoughts, every time you reject worst-case scenarios, every time you imagine possibility instead of failure, fear loses influence. Courage is a discipline, a spiritual muscle strengthened through repetition. You silence fear by starving it and feeding confidence. Positioning yourself is intentional preparation, not passive waiting. It is organizing your life like someone expecting elevation. It is refining your skills, nurturing your gifts, and adjusting your habits to match the level you are stepping into.